Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. This is Carole Baskin, and you are watching the Dominick Natty Show.
I mean, so if Joe's released early, I mean, would you be fear for your life that he would like they would try to kill you if he gets out early?
Yes, because I believe he still is of the same mind that he was before. He wants to be able to exploit and use cubs for his own personal gain, I think. And I'm always going to be a thorn in his side because I'm not going to stop until that kind of egregious practice is ended. And he's been clearly, I mean, people that watch Tiger King, they only know about the $3,000 hitman that you guys saw in Tiger King and the undercover FBI agent. What you guys don't realize is that in 2011, when Louis Theroux was filming him, he was talking about hiring a hitman back then and talking about how funny it would be to kill me. And then in 2015, two different people called me and said that he had tried to hire them to kill me. And so they were willing to talk to the police about that. We turned it over to the police and the FBI, and nobody ever did anything about it until this situation came up that you guys heard about in Tiger King.
I mean,
So I think he would continue to do what he's been trying to do for decades.
so what does that mean for you? Like, are you going to hire if he gets released early? Are you going to hire like security and protection? I mean, you have someone that's free that clearly wants to end your life. Like, how will you plan on protecting yourself?
Whenever I go to speak at situations like for the Florida Wildlife Commission or before Congress, I frequently have to hire a bodyguard anyway because Joe's not the only one of these animal abusers that has threatened to kill me over the years. And so I frequently have to do that. We have cameras everywhere at the sanctuary and at my house. And I just have to always be with my head on a swivel because even though Joe's in jail right now and it's good to have one less person to worry about, I think the really smart criminals are still out on the streets. And those are the ones that keep me worried all the time.
So Joe's the dumb criminal that got caught. Is that basically? Yeah. That's true?
I
Okay.
think he was the easiest one for them to build a case against. I've never had a conversation with Joe. The whole idea of there being this big feud between us, I mean, even though my name is on his lips all the time, I hardly ever even think about Joe. So
So you've never had a conversation with, you never spoken one on one with Joe?
never. I've
No.
only ever been in the same building with him 5 times, 4 times in court, and one time at it was in Ohio, where I had gone there to speak about a law to protect big cats, and he was there to speak against it. And he came up on this little woman that was the executive director of the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, and I could see he was intimidating her, so I got between the two of them and he ran off. But that was as close as I ever came to a conversation, and I didn't have to say anything.
So you were never offering to help free Joe Exotic. That was not your. That was misconstrued.
Yeah.
Okay, so you believe that he is where he belongs in jail,
Absolutely.
right?
And, you know, if anybody were to bother to actually get the transcripts from the trial, they would agree that he is exactly where he belongs. It's only the people who watched Tiger King and only got this much of it twisted to make it look like he had some claim to innocence or being set up. But anybody that looks at the actual evidence would agree that he's where he belongs.
Who else from this Tiger King cast should be in jail with Joe Exotic?
In Tiger King, Jeff Lowe said he was the person who was pulling up the aerials of my house and to the sanctuary and showing where the best places to kill me along the trail would be. So I've got to think that he had a hand in being a co-conspirator, and I think that that should be investigated.
There was talks a few months ago about you offering to help to get Joe Exotic free. Have you made any effort to free Joe Exotic? I mean, what happened with that?
Well, it's a problem with people reading headlines and not reading the actual stories underneath them. So when people said, is there any situation under which you would help him get a pardon? What I said was, if he really wanted a pardon, there's two things that he should do. One should be to turn in all of his co-conspirators and give the government the information they need necessary to prosecute and put them behind bars as well. And if he's really had a change of heart and believes that breeding these big cats for life in cages is wrong now, because that's what he said. He said after being in jail that he knew it was wrong, that he should help us pass the federal bill to ban the private possession of big cats and to stop the cub petting. So Joe comes out and he says, well, I'll take her up on that offer, but that bill has to change because we're not going to ban cub petting and we're not going to phase out private ownership. And it's like, that's the only two things the bill does. So he didn't take me up on my offer.
Jeff told me that he's racist. He frequently uses the N word. So
Yeah, that is obvious. If you ever listen to Joe's YouTube channel, I don't know how that thing never managed to get flagged because, yeah, he was always being really dismissive toward people of color.
okay, does he use the N word a lot? Like if you,
I've
yeah.
heard a number of times that he has.
Is there a current investigation about the disappearance of your ex-husband, Don Lewis? Is there an investigation going on right now?
There should be. I mean, it's an open case until it's solved.
Okay. I mean, have you been questioned like recently? What are they doing to help solve the case? Do you know anything?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I mean, 23 years ago, this was another thing that in Tiger King, they said that, I wasn't willing to talk to the police. It was like, I have all of the faxes back and forth between me and the police for years of us trying to figure out what happened. And every time I got any kind of information, I shared it with them. And whenever there were times when they got bodies that came in and they'd ask me for identifying marks or different, Don had a titanium plate in his head and had, I think, something also in his leg. And so we had these conversations for years that we were working together on this, and they weren't able to find him when all of that was new. So having a TV show come out and a bunch of animal abusers make allegations, that's not any help for them.
I mean, but did they, like, what's happened since then? Because, I mean, obviously, that's what everyone's saying. It's like, oh, she killed her husband, she killed her, I mean, because of the TV show. So what happens? I mean, are they questioning you? Like, they're getting knocks on your door? I mean,
No.
Nothing's happened since the show came out?
Between me and the police? No.
Do you feel like Netflix is framing you for murder, though? Like is there anything legally that you could do I mean, they're setting you up to look like you killed your ex-husband. Is there any legal action that you would take towards them for that? Or do you not feel that way?
It's not my ex-husband because I never would have divorced Don. I love Don. But
okay.
I still have, I think, another couple of years before I have to make that decision as to whether or not to sue them. There's pros and cons on both sides. One is I would like to clear my name, but the con is Netflix has got a lot of money. And I've been told, I don't know if it's true, but I was told that the producers sold that show for $16 million. So they have a lot more money than I have. Yeah. And I really worry about just the huge waste of having to pay attorneys for years as that drags out.
Because there's a lot of rumors, Tiger King 2 and this movie, and these are all rumors as far as you know. Is that correct?
I told the producers from Tiger King when they contacted me after Tiger King and said they just wanted to clear the air, I said, lose my number. There was no way I was going to trust them again after the horrible way that they treated me in Tiger King.